All right. Perfect. Yeah. Tell me more about that Warhammer match. Sorry, you did the other day.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
You said he was the most formidable opponent.
No. He's not the best in the city. This other guy is. He's undefeated right now in the league, but I haven't lost. He actually went against him for the first time. He was my first match of this league thing. That's over 3 months. He's crazy good. He's actually trying to go for Team Canada right now for the Warhammer World Cup and stuff.
Who arranges this Team Canada thing?
There's just a group of guys that love Warhammer, and then it all kind of goes into there's another organizer that does organizes all the opens around the world and everything else. Like, it kind of keeps them going up on levels, and there's just little people doing leagues.
Okay, so is there a bunch of these leagues?
Yeah.
Okay, so which one is the top one that decides you're part of Team Canada?
It's just a group of guys, really.
What's it called?
I have no idea. I think they're just they're Team Canada. It's the team's already established, and then people move in and out of the team, and so there's a captain, and he kind of goes say I think there's 4 people, and then there's the captain, and the captain can kind of go between the games and say hey, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. It's almost like if you were some kind of drill sergeant, you're watching all your soldiers go no, you have to do this, you have to do this. You're the captain of the front, of a war front, essentially. Yeah. So you're going back and forth, and then when people leave, you got open spots to join the team. So he's just
how many people? How many team members?
I think there's 4.
That's it?
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah, because there's a captain, so there's 4, and then you just kind of go at it, and then you go. There's always a world. I think it was last weekend. This other world one, but that one he wasn't applying for, but he's going for the next year one because he's I think he's number 2 in the world for playing Eldari, which is space elves. It's just space elves.
That sounds so cool.
Drukhari is space dark elves.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's so actually that's a funny thing too. They used to be called Eldar and Dark Eldar for space elves, but Lord of the Rings actually sued them because they had the rights to that name.
Okay.
So just recently they sued them about 2 years ago, and they had to change everything to Eldari.
Okay.
And Drukhari.
Okay. Are you trying to join the Team Canada then, or no?
No, I want to play highly competitive, and I want to play there's a tournament next weekend. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it, but I wanted to go to it. It'd be my first GT, a big one, and I want to play it because it's just fun. Comparably to Magic the Gathering, when I played competitive there, going to GTs, going all over the States, all over Canada too. It's just salty. Everyone's so salty, and it's dismissive. It's not friendly. It's wildly expensive. And it's just not fun. You don't get to enjoy with the opponent. You sit down there for 50 minutes trying to outthink each other and not talk to each other and just basically hating the other person. But when it comes to Warhammer, it's super fun. The match is usually around 2.5 to 3 hours. In a tournament setting, I think it's 2.5 hours, but yesterday, so we can take all the time we want. Right. And we took, I think we started at 2. We ended up setting it all up. It was 2:30 when we started. I was done by 5:30. So 3 hours, but it was fun. We make jokes, we swear, we call each other stupid names, but in an endearing way. And it's just a lot of fun, and it's a welcoming community, and most people want to help. They want to help people learn the game because it is wildly complex, and teaching new paint techniques, or oh, you shouldn't do this, or leave the information out. And even in this case, the guy was there's a right way and a wrong way to do combat right now, because to kind of get a little more specific, you have to choose who fights first. If you have a model over here or a model over on the other side, you basically choose, oh, I'd like to fight with this guy, or I'd like to fight with this guy, but you have to do it in sequence. It's stacking plates on top of each other.
Okay, this sounds like a silly question, but bear with me. And sorry to all the audience members, Kass and I were talking about Warhammer. If you never played it, I mean, Kass is actually a super nerd. I've always said to him, you physically don't look like the kind of guy who would have all the hobbies that you have, But he's a super nerd, but in a cool way. But yeah, but Warhammer is one of his passions, and he plays competitively as we were just discussing, and he plays often. But I don't know I don't know anything about Warhammer outside of just in general, like knowing, like understanding that it is a nerdy kind of endeavor, like Dungeons and Dragons or whatever type of thing. But I am a big science fiction geek myself, and I just enjoy whenever you're showing me your figurines or like things like that. Actually, hey, can you grab like one of those real quick? Just yeah. Like who's the main like super okay, so actually I'm gonna throw this in front of the camera here. So
just grab them like that.
Okay, grab them like that. Okay, so Kass like painted all this. You want to move that close to the camera while I talk here? Okay, so who is this guy? Like,
he's Mortarian.
What does that mean?
That's his name. It's just his name. He's for a little bit of lore. Basically, the Emperor of Mankind had 22 sons, 22 because one of them were twins. And they're all called Primarchs. So the Emperor of Mankind was basically, he is everyone you know in history: Genghis Khan, Jesus Christ, Constantine the Conqueror.
Sorry, this is the
lore.
This is the canon storyline.
Yeah.
For Warhammer.
So there's about 55 books and other side books as well that's been written since the 90s. Or
like how long has Warhammer been around?
25 years, I think.
25? Okay. That's still kind of young, all things considered. Because Magic, I know, came out
30 years ago.
30 years ago. Yeah, because I played Magic when I was in grade 4. But okay, but keep going.
So with the lore, the Emperor has all these children, and then he eventually revealed himself as going to be the Emperor of Mankind. And
does this take place in Earth? Sorry again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what timeline?
So right now, this is probably year 20,000 or something, or 25,000.
25,000, like AD?
Yeah. Like we're right now in year 2000.
Yeah. So
the game I play is called Warhammer 40K. It's actually placed in year 40,000.
Holy fuck! I can't even wrap my head around that, because in real life, it's documented civilization. I mean, recently there was that Graham Hancock Netflix show called I forget what it's called, but it's on Netflix. Graham Hancock talks about ancient civilizations, but I just caught the tailwind of him talking on it, that he said that it's roughly only 6,000 years that humans have been civilized, as far as the people, as far as architecture, and whatever Indiana Jones was, whatever those guys have deemed. Yeah. So you're saying this story, archaeologist, sorry. So like when I'm thinking about 40,000 in years in the future,
year 40,000.
It's like holy, like just trying to wrap my head around, because look how much quickly things change. And
so what ended up happening is that the Emperor revealed himself finally. Like he's done it before in the past as Jesus and Genghis Khan. He's done it, but he's never like had the technology to actually ever conquer the world. So when he did, this is around year 10 to 20,000, somewhere in there. I can't get the specifics, but he revealed himself as the Emperor of Mankind and wanted to put his place out in the cosmos and started conquering other worlds.
Okay, I'm fascinated with, what's his name again? The Emperor? Like
this is the Emperor's son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay, but
the Emperor is actually, so we're skipping ahead, but the Emperor's dead.
Okay. But what's his name again? Just so
he's just the Emperor.
Okay, so how is he? He's human, or no? He's an alien, or
he's an immortal human.
He's an immortal human. Okay, but he is in the storyline. He was Jesus. You said he was Genghis Khan. So almost every major player in history, it was actually that guy.
It was him.
Just what where did he come from? Like
he was I can't really know this. I don't really know the specifics of what he was made, but he was made with all the psychic energy that was ever been in the cosmos, and it like went into him.
Okay, so is he kind of like Sauron and Morgoth in Lord of the Rings? Like
he's more like actually he's actually more like in the comic books. Do you know who Vandal Savage is?
Yeah, from he's a guy who was in DC Comics. He was
he's more like him.
Oh, wasn't he in Justice League? Was he in the main bad guy again?
Yeah. He's more like him, an immortal being.
Okay, so he's been around, like, because Randall Savage was around since the caveman times.
He was a Neanderthal.
Yeah.
So it's like he's more like him. But anyways, as they're conquering the cosmos, nothing could actually beat them. He invented this way of breeding. It's called the gene seed. So people, so Space Marines, so just like those little guys over there, these little guys in armor and stuff, have the gene seed of the Emperor. So they're also immortal. Well, they're not necessarily immortal. They can die, but they live to be about 20,000 years old, some of them. But they're all like superhumans. They have like 4 lungs, 2 hearts. They're about 8 feet tall. Those have the gene seed of the Emperor, but the Primarchs have the gene seed of the Emperor. So they're like his sons, so to speak, because they're the most DNA of their DNA is mostly relatable to the Emperor, where everyone else is like kind of all the other Space Marines are more related to them. So like you'd have one Space Marine or one Primarch, his name is Horus. There's Horus, and then he'd have all his little bands of Space Marines were like kind of bred off of him, so they all call him Father.
Okay, but are they clones kind like made in a lab, or did he literally?
They're all made in a lab.
Okay, because I was about to be like, he must be having a lot of nonstop sex to create.
No, they don't do that. No,
yeah, because again, it's 40,000 years in the future. Like
it's all
humans
gene
are probably
seed.
unrecognizable, I would imagine.
Well, they're bigger and tall, but like they also like took the best part of everyone's DNA and put it into a next human. So they're not going to like breed two people. They're just going to like, you're the best. Here you go.
Okay.
But they're not necessarily clones because they are slightly different. So where a Primarch is much, much bigger. Like, so a regular Space Marine, say, we're 8 feet tall. Primarchs tend to be about, 10 to 12 feet. Mortarian's actually the biggest. And what ended up happening was, as they were conquering the world, or the galaxy, and Horus is kind of the main character. This is the year 30,000. He became the War Master. So he's like second in command to the Emperor. So the Emperor was like, no, you're going to go to the cosmos and you're conquering the rest of it. But for them to travel in space, they have to go through something called the warp. So it's like hyperspeed in a way, right? Like a warp drive in Star
like
Trek.
A wormhole.
Yeah. So they conquer it, and the way they have it is the Emperor actually has to sit on the throne and use his psychic energy to like make sure the warp is stable. But as you travel through the warp, on the flip side of like, think of a parallel dimension. So think of like we're here, and on the bottom side, the warp has access to it. So that's why you can go pretty much anywhere in the galaxy. So you like, oh, hey, I need to get to this point B. Well, I'm going to go through the warp, and then I land out in point B.
Okay.
So that's how it's traveled. But when you go through it, the world over there is called chaos. So it has like demons, and there's actually 4 gods of demons and stuff. And they all corrupt, and they corrupt absolutely. There's 4 demons. There's like it's like the horsemen. Like there's one of blood, one of like disgusting pestilence, one of pleasure and excess, and then there's one of like sorcery and power.
Okay.
Anyways, they all corrupt. So Mortarian was out there conquering the galaxy, and he was using the warp too much, and then he got corrupted by the god Nurgle. So then he started turning into this fucking demon thing. So now he sprouted these wings. He's like dying and decaying, and Nurgle's like the god of pestilence. So he just starts decaying all the time. And he kept on growing in size with his toxic sludge. So that's why he's even bigger than most of the Primarchs. And each Primarch kind of got corrupted. Like Horus got corrupted, and he killed the Emperor. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but a whole bunch of these different Primarchs corrupted. So that's what started the war in 40,000, where chaos is coming to just to take over our mortal plane.
Okay, and by then, well, I take it it's no longer, everything's not confined to just Earth. There's probably there's loads of loads of like Star Wars style. There's galaxies and it's just vast,
I think the Earth. So it's called Terra now. It's not Earth. It's Terra.
Terra. Okay.
Yeah. They have, I think, 160 planets under their rule.
Okay.
The main one is Mars too. They have a big fortification in Mars. Mm-hmm. And those guys that are there, they're called the Adeptus Mechanicus, and they believe in like a metal god, so they think flesh is weak, so they keep cutting off their arms and like making themselves like cyborgs.
Okay. Yeah, there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, like they think they're better and they're augmented, right? Mm. And then there's the other army that I have is Necrons. So they used to exist. They conquered the whole galaxy 15 million years ago, if you can comprehend that.
I can't.
Yeah. So right now, in the whole storyline is that the Necrons are rising again. So they basically conquered all these planets, and then they went to something called the Great Sleep, and they've been sleeping now for the last 14 million years or 15 million years, and now they're rising again. But they're rising in like all these planets that like they've conquered before, but now civilizations have built on top of it, or the Emperor has taken over that planet, and all of a sudden, like in these ancient tombs coming out of the bottom, like all these Necrons are coming up, and they're like these robots. They're like Terminators from Terminator.
Okay, fuck.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, no, and like, I'm literally listening to you tell me about this like a little kid listening to like a story from like, but the silly thing again is like this is all fiction.
Yeah.
For some reason I'm so dialed in where I'm like,
it's truth.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. It makes me think a little bit about L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology, because like when you hear about him break down Scientology, it sounds may as well be like everything you just said about the storyline of Warhammer, but we pretend it's real, and then we're like, oh, that Emperor God, he's right now doing something, and we better be serving him. And the way we serve him is we collect $20 off of every check that you get in the real world into this bank account. And
it's so ridiculous.
Something ridiculous. Would you say sorry, going back to that, the lore here, would you say there's parallels between this storyline and Star Wars and like
I'd say it inspired it for sure.
Or Star Wars inspired this storyline, you think?
100%.
Okay,
you know, there's probably this is all from England. Hey, these guys are from there's a big warehouse called Warhammer World, which is on my bucket list to go visit. It's
in England? It's called Warhammer World?
It's in Nottingham, actually. Nottingham, England, where Robin Hood's from.
So what is there like is it like kind of like Disneyland, except it's all like Warhammer stuff?
It totally is.
Yeah. How come I haven't heard about this?
I'll show you some videos, or maybe we'll clip it and we'll show the audience of like of people taking tours. Like Henry Cavill showed up in it because he's a huge dork, just like me.
Yeah.
If anything, he's the king of us all. For us nerds, and I'm just a mere prince.
That's true. You do love Henry Cavill.
He's awesome. But so he goes like he plays Warhammer. He plays his armies are Adeptus Custodes, which is like the Emperor's bodyguards. So they're like even bigger than regular Space Marines. They have gold armor and they're crazy. Anyways, that's what he plays. But he went to Warhammer World and they filmed it all, and he's like, they have all these big narrative battles like set up with models and stuff, and no one touches them because it's like kind of like a glass display case. Then they have a whole warehouse too where people are playing games all day. Then they have like big painting sessions and tutorials. They just had one 3 months ago. It's called Warhammer Fest, and they invited a bunch of content providers to go there and share what they do. And then everyone got to meet each other and all hang out. It was this big convention, and everyone was playing and then looking at all the other new releases of stuff, and it's really, really cool.
Hey, more questions from me. These might be kind of silly questions to you or whoever's in the audience listening right now that have no concept of what Warhammer is. Do you think there's any real parallels towards the game Warhammer in real life war, for instance? Like do you think it could apply to like a real war situation? Like for instance, like generals right now in Russia, like they're thinking like Warhammer style for like, hey, take this and move over here and overtake this supply chain part, and like get your weapons up here, get more men on this corner, flank their army this way. Like could that actually translate to true military strategy?
I think,
or is it just literally a game? Like
I think it's a game, but I think the game designers want it to be as close to realistic as possible. But I've never fought in a war. I don't know. I don't know that, but I can imagine there's elements to it like asset management and resource control. That's a strategy with almost anything, like, even running a restaurant. Like you have assets, and how do you sell those assets, or how do you manage them? Like, oh, I have this great cook, I'm going to put him in this position here. Like your resource, it's resource management, right? And that's no different than anything. So I imagine if like Putin's like, oh, hey, they have a supply chain. If they get their nukes or these bombs here, they can actually shoot us where they want. But if they leave the nukes here, they can't shoot that, or they won't be able to get it by the time we counter it. So they have to move it here. So I'm going to make sure they stop from moving there. Like there's things like that I'd imagine would be part of it, but I don't fight wars.
Of course. But I'm trying to think, Putin, not just Putin, any leader, they almost have to decide these moves like it's a game, right? Because otherwise, like if they take their emotions out of it and they treat it like a Warhammer game, they're like, okay, how do I take over Ukraine, or how do I take over another territory, or whatever's going on? And then they almost have to just strategize like that, right? And then when they hear the kill counts, they have to almost separate their emotions from it and just be like, okay, like that grieving can be for another day, but I just have to look at it strictly as a game, almost like as a sport.
To bring into Warhammer, like I have units in my particular list and army that I bring that are expendable. So I hate to say it, but like, they're called poxwalkers. They're little zombie dudes, but they're very cheap, like in cost, because everything costs something. They're cheap in Costco, I can like, okay, well, I'm going to put these guys in front, so you kill them, and then I'll be able to do a counter swing and just wipe your whole army. So I got like expendable units and expendable things that like, oh, hey, do I want to trade this? And what trading means is like, say I have something that's worth 100 points, so $100, and they have something that's 150. If I get this 100 thing and I kill this and I kill mine, I still trade it up. I gain $50 out of the deal. So that's trading resources.
Yeah. That's so nuts, man. Because when you think about it, like, it's kind of sad right now. You're hearing a lot of, even when you just YouTube for instance, like I'm going back to the Russia-Ukraine war because that's the only one that's most relevant right now that I'm paying attention to, best I can anyway, with the knowledge that is available out there. But for instance, there's this one segment on this one YouTube channel. I forget what it's called, but anyway, they interviewed all these Russian soldiers that are going to the front lines right now, and then they're translating that these guys are saying, I have no training. I actually don't even really have equipment. I was told to like, they just supplied me essentially with a camo jacket and pants, and I have to bring my own shoes.
So they're militia.
Well, I don't know what they are, but it sounds like, but they're getting sent right to the front line. So it sounds like these are as you said, in the expendable, like, because like if you think about it from, again, a military strategy, it's like they have to almost separate their feelings. Like they have to almost pretend like they're not human. They are a commodity for the greater good of their country, right?
Yeah.
Which is so crazy because like when I think like that after what you just explained, if you're a parent to one of these soldiers and then you can kind of get a glimpse into the military strategy going on behind the scenes, and these guys are literally strategizing on what to do like it's a Warhammer match, you would be like, fuck that. I'm not sending my kid out to die for that. Like avoid the draft then. This has nothing to do with pride and manhood anymore. Like you literally plan on my kid dying off that jump just as a distraction from my other move.
Breach into the enemy lines.
Yeah. So so I'm sitting there like, fuck. Like but again, if you are going to be a general, if you don't think like that, how are you ever going to make moves? If you're always truly thinking about, well, we can't send those soldiers in there because, they're like, they have no chance of surviving and blah, blah, blah. They're human beings and whatnot. Like, no, you wouldn't be able to make any moves. You almost have to be to a level of detached from humanity and look at it like a thing you have to win, otherwise, again, like that, I mean,
otherwise you're going to be, you're going to lose.
Or you're going to lose. Yeah. That's so crazy.
And that's not an option for him.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Yeah. Next time you're playing, really try to imagine your little figurines were real people. Yeah, and then you're like, oh.
Mine are all like zombies and dying in decay because it's worshiping the god Nurgle. They spread like, and into the game too, they spread like a disease. And it's like a matter of inches. And every turn, it gets like bigger. And they get like weaker. They make everyone else weaker and sick.
Hey, do me a favor because I want to keep talking here. Put this right into the camera again. I just want everyone to really see the intricateness of it.
Here you can, yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking here. Just like, guys, Kass painted all of that. Show the backside.
Well, here, what we'll do is just put my tag in for my Instagram.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So Kass actually has an Instagram for his Warhammer world. What's it called?
Mortarian's Chosen Son.
Okay, I'll put the link.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mora, what?
So he's Mortarian, and part of one of his groups is the Chosen Sons. Yeah,
it's so crazy to me that, like just look at the detail of this. Like you're a skilled painter too. Like look at this.
Yeah,
it's this is phenomenal, man. And I love nerd stuff like this. I grew up drawing too. I'm kind of a nerd too, like comic book stuff. But this is awesome, man. Holy, look at all those little details. Like, again, I sound real dumb here, but you have a very thin brush, I take it.
It's a really small one, on the highlights.
And because you got into all the nooks and crannies, like even right here on the knee, like look at all that detail. Like it's just, here, I really want to show people more. Here,
keep go ahead. Yeah. Well, a lot of things too is, there's neat little tricks that you can do to kind of, make everything pop. It's shading. So it's a different type of paint, and you can go over and really kind of darken all the crevices and go in between the lines, and it's like almost like a water paint, and it changes the tone of the whole. So if you were to paint something like flat red and then you put that ink over top or that shade, it would actually make it look like a dirtier red, and it makes it like it gives you that natural lighting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a cheat. But, you know, the technology exists now for us to do it, and making thinner paints. And once you have thinner paints, you can pretty much do anything.
You have to paint your Warhammer.
You don't have to, but every match, every single match you go into, they give you 10 points. So like the score is always out of 100. So you can get a maximum 100 points every single game. And it's scored in a numerous amount of different ways, but you can start the game with 10 points if you've painted your army. So It's a huge advantage.
So essentially, it's also incentivizes people to paint.
Yeah.
But also it's a strategy because like someone who's maybe not as good, but they just paint real well, they can have at least those points to give them some kind of
something.
Okay,
right?
But then that must be frustrating if you're playing someone who like, oh, I don't give a fuck about the painting part. I'm just the strategy guy, and then
they're gonna lose.
And they come in every day giving up a bunch of points because they don't want to paint.
Well, my brother had his league match 2 days ago, and really, really close game. The guy's a very good player. He's playing another chaos type army called Creatures of Bile. But anyways, he's playing him, and he has not painted anything. They're still like that, right, built out of the box and glued. So you know that like that plastic look.
Yeah.
So I call it gray highlighting because it's just like a gray. Anyways, but he hasn't painted anything, and he's still a very good player. But what ended up being the score? This is before painting points were awarded. Was my brother's opponent was 70 points, and my brother was 61. My brother had a painted army. He got the extra 10, so he beat him 71 to 70.
Just because he painted,
and that was it. And then he lost the match because of it. And it's just like, yeah, I really got to paint my army. Like, well, and my brother stressed like, well,
does it matter how intricate the painting is, or like, say someone sucks and they just splattered blue on it? Like, does he get the points already?
It's really up to the opponent how nice they are. I think you need to at least make it look somewhat decent. Right. And there's like a lot of bad painters out there too, but there's a lot of like incredible ones. It's any spectrum, right? But like I've gone against armies too that were like, this, you know what? I know you just need to slap this together to get on the field.
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
whatever.
exactly.
Like,
okay.
And I'll still give you the 10 points because like you still put the effort in.
Okay. Is it out of 10? Sorry.
No, it's 10 or 0.
Oh, okay. Well, then you're gonna have to. Okay, like
you sometimes give it, you sometimes don't.
So you like the amount of work you put in is also because you love doing that. Yeah.
And I take pride in it. It's like a sense of ownership. Like I take pride in the way my army looks like on the field. Right. Where, you know, it's just the same as like you dressing in the morning, you dressing like, are you going to go out there looking like a slob or you're not going to look like a slob? Yeah. You have to take some ownership, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And that's just like the key to life in general. So I take ownership with my army on the battlefield. And what I was saying is that my brother stressed to him is like, listen, man, like I'm not going to give you the 10 points. Like we put effort into our army. Like I take hours out of my time. Like it took me months to paint this to where it is. I deserve the 10 points. You don't, because you just slapped it together and you put it on the field. Of course you're not going to get it.
But your brother, you just said that match was so close. So that's probably why he's like, okay, I didn't beat him off the actual strategy, but I painted, so I win. You know, maybe.
But then that's it. Like that's part of the game. And it incentivizes people because you should take ownership. You should have a good painted army. And it doesn't have to be the best thing. Like I was telling you before, like maybe I'd like to do some speed painting or something like that for like an entire army. I think that'd be kind of fun. Hey, how can I make it look the best possible way and in the fastest time? I think that's a fun little challenge.
Okay.
But that's just me challenging myself and being better at even painting and being better at the game. Right.
I kind of get what you're saying. Cause it's a lot like say the NHL did not have like actual player jersey code or whatever. Right. Then the one organization might be like, just like they look like the Mighty Ducks out there, but they don't care. like, oh, my players have their equipment, so like let's play the game. They're like, no, let's be gentlemen about this. Show up looking good, please.
Yeah, that's why. And you know what? All hockey players, you know what they do? They show up in a suit.
Exactly.
They show up in a suit and then they change in their gear and they leave in the suit because they come in there looking professional. I think that's an important thing. I think that you should take any sense of ownership in the way you dress, the way you look, the way your army's on the battlefield, whatever it is. There should be an ownership in that. And I think that's why the game is so well designed too, that they give players an opportunity to get that extra 10 points. And most of the time people have it. Like this is the only guy that I've that I had a match with that has never painted. Oh no. He's the second guy. In that tournament I was in a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
But he's a college kid, and I get it. Like he had this entire orc army, and orcs are like, imagine having to paint like 250 models because they're just like there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, but you did that. Like
I don't have that many.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right, because he chose to have orcs.
Orcs are just like they're strength in numbers kind of thing.
Okay,
so that's a lot of painting, right? So he didn't do it, and he didn't get the 10 points. But
I have to ask. This is a. Are there a lot of women that play this game, or not really?
There's a few, yeah.
There's a few. Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. There's a few.
Because this is hardcore stuff. Like how serious you take is amazing.
Yeah, it's a passion of mine, right? And it's like I take everything pretty. Well, you know me. I mean, everything I do is I tend to go 110% in almost everything. So, which doesn't leave room for a lot of other things. But yeah, no, there's women. There's so funny. Play on Tabletop. They're another YouTube provider. They're just fantastic. They're based out of Vancouver. They really bring the Warhammer to a cinematic level of editing and everything. It's incredible what they do. They brought one of their long-term patrons of their members of their channel on, and he comes on a few times. But this time it was husband versus wife, and his wife plays with him, and it's awesome. And I remember one of my friends kept making fun of him because he had a lisp, and he had to play a fucking army that had ours, and he's like, I like Tyranids, and our buddy was making fun of him, and he was just like, oh my god. But then he's on, and his wife is like super hot, and you're like, oh well, shit. He's like, and then my friend was like, I don't feel bad for him anymore. His wife is super hot, and she's like playing it, and she actually was very good. And then there's other times too where like there's. Yeah, I think women in this particular hobby is definitely increasing because the painting is so cool, and
because
you can really get involved with it.
They would like this part. Again, oh man, I'm trying not to sound sexist or whatever. But it's like this part is like a fun part that they would just love to do anyway, or whatever.
It's not sexist to say that it's a man-dominated thing, but it's not to say that women don't do it, and maybe it's daunting too because a little bit more is on their shoulders because women don't play as much, but it's not to say that they won't, like they can't figure it out. Like it's the information's out there.
Yeah. Dude, do you feel like nerd culture has completely changed and we shouldn't look at it anymore like the way we looked at it growing up? What I mean by that is before, people who play this kind of stuff, let's be honest, most of them have bad hygiene. They barely work. They live in their parents' basement. Yeah. But like when you get someone like you coming out playing this, it changes the whole thing because you're like a hot guy
Thank you.
that like enjoys all of this. So what I'm trying to say is I think nerd culture is changing now because we're just in a different era. Like nerd culture, I don't think you can stereotype it anymore as
I think it's the main thing.
Dudes who are virgins. It's like cool people per se play this. Like Henry Cavill plays this. I mean, come on, like you play this. That's
He's
amazing.
Fucking Superman plays this.
Man.
Anyways, yeah, it's totally flipped on its head, and I think that it's become more. The nerd culture is more mainstream. I think there's attrition to a lot of things. Big Bang Theory, I think, helped out a lot.
I hate that show.
I do too.
I never got into it. I just get so annoyed whenever I hear even
Sheldon talk. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, but this coming from me, like I like Star Trek and all that, but there's something about that show where I'm just looking at it every time like this is so lame.
Yeah, I don't really like it either. And look, the references they have, in that, like I would laugh. Like they have Magic the Gathering posters everywhere, and like all these Warhammer talks, and they do, and like all the superheroes because they're run by Warner Brothers, so they only talk about DC Comics a lot.
Oh, okay.
For the most part, and okay, that's all fun, and like that's fun for me, but like the show is just not funny to me, and I'm a big nerd, and I don't like it. So, but I think that made it more mainstream, and then. Let's get real here. Marvel Studios. Look what they've done.
Right.
They've now dominated theaters. They dominate theaters.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's the only reason people go now is for Marvel movies. And that's why you got all these great directors complaining about, no, I don't like Marvel movies. Like Martin Scorsese saying it's not cinema.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino says it's fucking ridiculous. Like I would rather be well, if I was 20 years old, I'd be really excited about it, but I'm 60 and I'm not excited about it. It takes away from anyone being a movie star. It's about the hero being the star, and then they've eventually become these major A-list stars, and it took away from that. That's what Quentin Tarantino was talking about.
Kyle, like our buddy Kyle, on previous episodes of the podcast, him and I were talking about when we were discussing again why we like movies and stuff, because he explained how he hates Jurassic World, the new Jurassic Parks and everything. And then I explained what I like from movies these days. Is I don't just necessarily watch a Marvel movie because of all the bells and whistles of the special effects. It's like I constantly get cool inspiration when I see these fictional storylines, because I just use my imagination with whatever's going on in my life. It sounds silly, but it's actually like when I watch these movies, it's like it's fuel for whatever I have to get going on in my life. Because if you just really try for a second to stretch your imagination and imagine, say something that happened in one of these Marvel movies is kind of real, like what a crazy human being to be able to take all that stress and solve that problem. Like an alien invasion, a interdimensional war. Like it's just so, it just makes me think like I can do this, like in my life, whatever it is, right? It sounds silly, but obviously there's reality and stuff too, you know. But that's what I get out of it, because like Martin Scorsese, for instance, he's judging these Marvel movies off of a different criteria. He's just thinking like, this is just silly nonsense, you know. Like,
he's old fashioned.
Oh yeah, he's like, this isn't real. This is just massive computer graphics or whatever, and his movies aren't really like that. But they're all theme character based mob movies, this and that,
and they're crazy. They're crazy good,
which they're great. I love Martin Scorsese as well.
Yeah, I love his movies. But you know what? Now I think his movies are now more suited for at home on Netflix and watching them at home, because they're like that longer setting. You can get up, you can pause it, you can go to the back, like The Irishman, like it's fucking 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can't say anything about it. I mean, Endgame was that long, but these Marvel movies, because of the way they're filmed and because of like the explosions and the cinematic draw and the graphics and CGI, you need to experience them in a theater, because you got all those crazy sounds and you got it in 3D and 4D or whatever it is, and these things are now an experience. I'm not gonna go to see the theater. I'm gonna see the Departed in the theater for that experience. Like, it's not gonna change me. Where like, you know, I go see Endgame, I'm like, holy shit. Or Avatar. Like, there we go. James Cameron pushing the boundaries again. Like, Avatar comes out in 2 weeks. Comes out the second one, right? And that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's an experience.
It's sad to me when I hear people say, I don't like these movies anymore, these Marvel movies, these blah blah blah, because they're saying, oh, there's too many of them now, and
that's just laziness.
And but again, I just get inspired constantly, and that's what I actually use. So,
but when they say it's too many, it's a whole culture, it's a whole world, it's a cinematic universe. That's what it is. And of course, they're going to be pushing out content. And I think lately in this phase 4, the content has definitely sucked. But hey, it's still superheroes on the big screen. It's still awesome to see. Like, I didn't really like Wakanda Forever. I thought it was just boring. She-Hulk was something else. That was just the worst.
And I never watched that. How bad was She-Hulk, or how good was She-Hulk?
It's awful. It's pandering. It's just, you know, there's no storyline. It didn't. The last episode, and spoilers. It's been out for months. If you guys care about spoilers, it doesn't matter.
Some people do,
but like the end, no, it's been months. You had an opportunity to watch it. At the end, she like breaks the fourth wall, comes out into Disney Plus, goes into the real world. I don't
like this.
And tries to talk to Kevin Feige as She-Hulk, but Kevin Feige is actually not Kevin. It's a computer doing algorithms and how Marvel movies should end, because they basically were trying to make like all CGI battle fight at the end of it. And then she just, no, we're not a typical Marvel show. And she like erased everyone. Like, look, he should go to jail. I should get my redemption. And then this is it. And she like erased things.
Good God.
And then that was it. That was the finale.
The only cool character that can break the fourth wall is Deadpool. Yeah. But that's just so silly.
In the comics, she does. Like, in the comics, she breaks the fourth wall all the time. That's why they kind of did that. But like, it just, the way they went about it was just silly. And then they said lawyer show, but then the fans kind of complained about it, because like when she was in court, it didn't feel like she was in court. Like it, and then the lawyer said, like, we don't actually write lawyer shows. Then why are you saying it's a lawyer show? Like, if you go watch like someone who wrote Suits, like they know how to write lawyer shows, or like Law and Order, like they know how to do it. Why don't you go talk to them and maybe make like the more of a lawyer show then, if that's what you wanted to do?
Well, I do got to say, after watching that Johnny Depp trial and realizing that was a real trial, I'm like, I don't know, maybe that is the lawyer show now. Like,
well, that even was more lawyer than this. Like, it was about their lawyer show was silly. Like, no, adjourn. And they just, you know what? Like, they had this one character, and she was trying to sue her for the name She-Hulk, but like that was her name, and she's like this big. Her name's Titania, and she has superpowers, but she made it an Instagram model influencer, and she could sell makeup. That was it. That was her biggest villain.
I really have no interest in watching the She-Hulk.
It's awful.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for making sure.
Yeah. And look, I will always watch these shows because I'm invested already, and I'm going to keep on watching them. But I'll tell you which ones you probably should even bother with. And like, again, my opinion is mostly biased, but like Miss Marvel, that was terrible.
I wasn't aware of that
Moon Knight was incredibly boring. It's unfortunate, but it was incredibly boring. The only good shows was like Loki and WandaVision.
I loved Loki and WandaVision.
They were great.
I really, really enjoyed
I didn't like
too.
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that much.
I love that one. You didn't like that one?
No, it's only because the story didn't make sense.
How so? What do you mean?
Well, this one chick was a super soldier, and she's trying to get the serum around, and then she just dies by a gun.
Oh.
Okay. And then the other girl comes out as like I'm the power broker. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right, because they had the Peggy Carter's granddaughter.
Yeah.
She's kind of like a really bad person all of a sudden.
Yeah. I still get it.
I was like, you just went through Thanos and literally dealing with a cosmic problem, and that didn't break your ethics or you believing in good humanity. But like what ended up happening? She kind of did she lose her job or something?
Yeah, something like that. She got
something
fired.
ridiculous, and then she's like, you know what? Everything I've ever done for forces good, I'm going to do the opposite now. I'm going to run a massive black market criminal organization out of some small little town.
Madripoor,
yeah. Now I'm going to start harming people or whatever just for money. And I was a bit like, did she get engulfed by an evil serum? No, just lost her job. Really pissed off.
And do you know what the other problem with that? But, I got two more things too. When they came out, the original storyline actually had like a virus being in the world, and they had to kind of stop it. And these super soldiers wanted it to happen because they wanted to.
Was it called coronavirus?
Well, because of COVID being out, they had to change the whole storyline. So they changed it to the super soldier serum going around, and it just did like that's when the story started falling apart because like they did all these things to make it more sense. Now the second thing is, why was Falcon denied a bank loan? You know what?
Oh yeah,
it was $30,000 to fix up a boat, and he's denied this bank loan. He saved the freaking planet from Thanos. And do what? Where is Gwyneth Paltrow here? No. Wait. Is she not running a Stark Foundation?
Yes.
Like in the help. Oh, hey, Falcon, you need $30,000 for this boat? Here you go.
Right. Hold on. Explain to me again. How did the Avengers get paid again? Like did they ever explain that?
Through goodwill and Tony.
What do you mean through goodwill?
Well, that's what they said. That's what he said. Through goodwill of donations, but also Tony
pays them?
The Stark Foundation. He set up one. So there's like,
okay. So how much do they get paid?
It's based off of a trust fund. It's based out of a trust fund, and they pay out people.
Okay, but Captain America lived in the lousiest apartment. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that was when S.H.I.E.L.D. was paying for him. So S.H.I.E.L.D. paid for his living and his expenses and everything else as the government, but then it turned out to be Hydra. And that's all he wanted, though. He's a minimalist, right? And then he started living in the Avengers compound, right? So they don't pay for anything. So their expenses are incredibly low. But then they also get like, paychecks from the Stark Foundation. And
at their level, though, it's like, you think they would really even care about money? Like they're dealing with aliens, intergalactic, like they're just kind of like, someone just pay for my breakfast today. like I'm literally saving, like they're
just getting funds. They get it wherever they want. They probably just have a credit card that has like unlimited funds on it. They can just put in, it gets paid off, but they're not going out doing much. They're mostly training and going on missions.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like, oh, hey, I really need to go pay for a vacation. Then the foundation will be like, hey, well, here, go.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you wanted to do. But they also have a fucking spaceship with rocket. They can fly anywhere.
I know.
They don't have expenses.
Yeah.
So here's the Falcon going in for a bank loan to fix up his parents' boat. And the bank's like, well, you haven't had a salary for the last 5 years. And are you saying the government or the banks haven't figured a way like, oh, hey, the blip fund. If you blipped away and you didn't make a salary for 5 years, then you're exempt from that and you can have your previous salary.
Yeah.
Like it's all fucking bullshit.
It's also silly.
Like, and where is Stark? Or I know Stark's dead, but where's Gwyneth Paltrow, who's CEO of Stark Industries? Mm-hmm. Are you saying that the Falcon can't fly over there and say, hey, I need help on this boat?
Or maybe they're just that sloppy with trying to help people because it's like Falcon, oh, you're about to save the fucking universe. Great. All expenses paid, whatever equipment you need. Like money's kind of a side issue. We got to make a teleportation super device. Okay, great. Let's get on it. But then it's like, hey, I want to fix up my family boat. They're like, wait, that's not Avengers business, so no money. And he's like, oh, okay, well, if you're doing it like that, then I have to go for actual bank loan. And he goes to a bank loan, and they're like, oh, Mr. Falcon, I know you saved the universe, but
and I'm a big fan, by the way,
but no money, And then next thing you know, you see Falcon like working part time at like whatever fast food chain,
like a Baskin Robbins
or something.
Yeah, like Ant-Man did.
Oh yeah, that's right. So silly.
But just things like that in that show that just really kind of. I know it's not real. I know it's fake. But then they made it an entire episode about him getting denied a bank loan and fighting aliens.
But there is something kind of fun about that too, right? Because you remember that movie.
But they made it serious. It wasn't a funny thing.
Right.
It was a serious thing.
Yeah.
And they made it serious, and then they had to go like on his morals about like trying to or his morals and trying to become Captain America, and that's all it was about.
I'm surprised that in that Marvel universe, again, I know this is all fiction. We're just geeking out, but when you really think about it, if the world undertook an experience like dealing with Thanos, I'm like, money wouldn't be the last thing we give a shit about as a society. We just discovered intergalactic travel. Like, It's like, why do we even have a money system anymore? You would think that Earth would just fortify into this one super,
credits.
or become like the Federation in Star Trek. Like now you have this super mission as a world race to shoot towards, which is exploration more, like global defense. Like money that would be the game changer. Like, because at the end of the day, when we really think about money every day, it's like, it's kind of bizarre again, because we're thinking in our head, okay, like we put so much emphasis in this non-tangible numerical system that seems to be make-believe for the privileged or the connected, and it's causing humans not to be able to even eat. I know it sounds kind of communist, socialist what I'm saying, but I'm just saying it's like money seems silly again if you dealt with intergalactic fucking super aliens. Like you would think that would just change everything. Where it's like, okay, like pause, our entire civilization now is changing. Like nothing should be motivated out of profits. Like because we have this super thing now.
We should have a global defense thing. So like the UN should turn into global defense and global expansion.
I think that all forms of technology would have to be geared towards something like that. You would think, and then again, that would all industry would be because,
and welcoming aliens too.
Yes.
Like say aliens can now live on Earth if they want to.
Exactly. Like that mission's so grandiose that it would change everything. But the fact that you went through the blip and in the Marvel movies again, it's like, oh, okay, what do we do? Just back to how we were doing it. And then
just do group therapy sessions with Captain America. You got to keep moving on, guys.
God. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So, this whole phase has been pretty bad. It ended with Wakanda Forever. So now we're going into phase 5 with Ant-Man and the Wasp coming up.
Yeah.
So we'll see probably some answers here, because I understand that phase 4 was supposed to be about redemption and like overcoming conflict and overcoming what happened with Endgame. That was a whole part of it. So that's why it was kind of probably pretty boring. But phase 5 will start leading into that Secret Wars is what they're trying to do. So that's like a multiversal war.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is this a new story arc in the comic book world?
It's going to be Kang is going to be the next big bad. So remember the end of Loki?
I remember.
Yeah,
Kang.
so that guy. So he's like a variant of him is going to be the next big bad.
I guess what I'm asking is like the because like the original phase 1 and we're on phase 4 now. Marvel, you said
5.
Okay, so the first 3 phases it's in real time. They were basing it off of the build up towards the Infinity Gauntlet storyline, which has been around since the 90s, I believe.
Yeah, Infinity War.
The Infinity War was Infinity War was after Infinity Gauntlet.
Right.
Yeah. Because I still have the old school Infinity Gauntlet comics. I love those things back in the day.
They're awesome.
They're so amazing. But right now, this new phase, it's modern. Like the writers probably wrote it in like last year, kind of thing.
No, they've been right. They're already like miles ahead, right, of their writing. Like they're probably thinking about how to incorporate the X-Men right now.
Okay, but I'm saying this story arc, phase 5, was it 10 years old in the comic book world? Now they're just catching it up, or is it
the Secret Wars? Yeah, I think Secret Wars started in 2010.
2010. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's when I don't have the exact dates, but yeah, Secret Wars. But it's all about like the multiverse and like trying to conquer. So basically, like your universe and your universe, and then they have to fight for your universe to even survive. So everyone's fighting. So you'll have like a Spider-Man fighting a Spider-Man. Like you'll have shit like that. And then Kang the Conqueror, he's from, I guess he's actually from the future. But I guess in this show, I don't know how they're going to do it, but he's in the quantum realm right now and massing an army to
bring into
to start the Secret Wars. And Kang the Conqueror is going to be the next big bad.
Yes,
he's like the next Thanos. If not, he's I don't know. He's probably more powerful. He's smarter for sure.
Yeah, and Kang is all technology based, right?
Yeah, he's a human.
So
he's Reed Richards, like Mr. Fantastic, like
so
long descendant.
He's so smart because Kang he basically can time travel and do everything. So he's just that. Wait a minute. To go back to your Warhammer storyline, wasn't Kang also Genghis Khan or whatever in the storylines and everything? Like he's a guy.
I'm not sure.
Was like a central figure or anyway.
He might have been. He might have like gone to the past and like helped Genghis Khan do something, but I don't think so. It's just King the Conqueror is what he is in the comic books because he conquers other timelines and he conquers the world or universes and stuff. And but the big character that's in Secret Wars in the comic books that now they can introduce, which I'm really curious on who they're going to do with, but is Doctor Doom.
Oh, sick. Dr. Doom.
He's unbelievably good.
That character, again, I'm like, well, hold on. What's the politics? Why wasn't he in any of the Marvel movies so much? Like, that guy's like the most pivotal.
Yeah, he's like the villain.
There's him and Warlock and Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Hold on. They made a Silver Surfer movie. But in the MCU. Like,
so the reason why he isn't
which one?
The Dr. Doom?
Dr. Doom, yeah.
Because that was all owned by Fox.
Fox owns Doctor Doom.
They did. They used to. So
but he's a Marvel character. What do you mean?
So back in the 90s when Marvel was going bankrupt, they ended up selling a lot of the rights to characters and stuff and movie rights so they could stay afloat.
Okay.
So they sold Spider-Man to Sony and all the Spider-Verse to Sony. And Sony still owns it. Yep. Yeah. I'll give you the whole history here. And then they also sold the Hulk, Namor, like the Submariner.
Okay. Little kid, I'm putting my hand up. Question. Well, then how come the Marvel? Because I grew up reading comic books about Spider-Man in the 90s specifically.
Like, movie rights. Movie rights.
No, but the movies were okay. The comic book's still Marvel. Yeah. But the movie is.
Yeah. So they're in collaboration with Marvel. So the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Yeah. That was all Sony production, but they're in collab with Marvel. But Marvel Studios wasn't allowed to produce any Spider-Man thing until they made a deal. So Universal Studios has the Hulk and Submariner and all their things. And then Fox owned the entire X-Men franchise, and they also owned all the Fantastic Four, including Doctor Doom. Okay? So that's why they, in Age of Ultron, they could never say mutants. They said enhanced for Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
Right,
but there's some characters they shared. Now they made, Marvel Studios made a deal with Universal to get the Hulk. So they share like some profits and they share some merchandise profits with them too. Then with Sony, they made the deal with Spider-Man, but that took them a while, right? Like,
okay, this sounds like sports almost, like like trading.
Yeah,
people.
They made deals.
Okay, so who's so Marvel has to for sure try to collab to get back Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer.
So stop
Adam
right there.
Warlock.
Nope, stop right there. So about 4 years ago, Disney, instead of collabing with them, they decided to buy them out. They bought Fox.
Disney owns Fox now?
Oh
my God, I've been
4 years ago.
I probably sound so stupid to people who are in the loop with that because
that was probably one of the biggest acquisitions of all time here. And I'll tell you the story with it too because I watched like a masterclass with Bob Iger. He's the CEO of Disney.
Yeah.
And kind of like how he first bought Pixar, then he bought Marvel because Disney now owns Marvel, and then he bought Star Wars. So the last one he bought was Fox, the most recent one. And Fox was going to go up for sale. So then a bunch of companies wanted to buy their entertainment because they have so much shit. Like that's why Family Guy's on Disney Plus, right? And Simpsons and stuff, right?
Right.
So Disney put an offer in. I think it was for like $40 billion or something like that.
What?
$40 billion for Fox, and then they're like, and then Comcast, another entertainment company, went for like $57 billion to countersuit it. So then Bob Iger is like, shit. So we have some competition here. He goes to the board, and as CEO, he does get 2 votes compared to 1. But he tries to convince the board, we have to throw a ridiculous number at these guys that Fox won't refuse and that Comcast can't come back with and come at us.
What was that number?
$248 billion.
These kind of deals were going around, and everyone's like scratching their head about like Elon Musk's $40 billion Twitter buy. Like, no offense, that's kind of peanuts compared to a 200 like
$248 billion they bought Fox for. Jeez, so they own Fox, so they own all the rights now. That's why people are saying mutants now in all the Disney shows.
Yeah, now they can say it again.
They can, and X-Men are showing up. Like they said, Miss Marvel's a mutant. Okay, but then they're showing like they can do anything now. Like that's why Professor X showed up in Multiverse because they can do that now.
Right.
And then Reed Richards in the Multiverse of Madness. Like all these characters can show up now because Fox now owns all the rights, all their movie rights they bought back.
So no one's missing now. Sounds like they have all the players now back under the same umbrella.
Nope.
Who's the major one that's still missing?
Sony still owns all the Spider-Verse. And they own
because that's like their Michael Jordan that they're keeping.
They own Venom. Yeah. They own Venom. They own that Morbius shit. They own
all of Spider-Man.
All of Spider-Man villains, but they've made a deal like so Disney keeps trying to make deals. They keep trying to make deals to originally they made a deal for when Spider-Man first showed up in Civil War. They made a deal where like, hey, you get 50% of the profits of the movie, and only 1% of the merch. And after Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, and after Endgame and and after all that, Sony backed out of the deal. It's like, no, you can't have Spider-Man anymore. And then we're like, hey, no more Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Like that was it. And 3 days later, it came back that Sony now gets 50% of all profits, including merch and all that other shit. So that's when they came out with No Way Home. And then all the other stuff. Because, like, so they still collabing because they still Spider-Man, every single Spider-Man movie comes out, every single one of the new Marvel Studios has made over $1 billion. You can't say, like, okay, fine, take the freaking profit then. Like, we want to keep going with this. And he's such a rich character that it'd be silly not to.
He's like, Spider-Man alone is equivalent to half of an MCU universe roster. Like he's okay.
One of the most important characters.
So who else is still kind of like has to be
the Hulk and Submariner, which Submariner was in Wakanda, but they had to make a deal with Universal.
Okay,
right. So that's Namor. That's the main bad guy.
I know Submariner.
Yeah, and then Hulk as well. That's why Hulk hasn't had a standalone.
Okay,
since Edward Norton.
Yes. Okay, so is that it? Or are we missing anyone else from the super? Okay, so if they could just get Hulk, Submariner, and Spider-Man, then Disney can once again be like, all right, we don't have to constantly do these collabs. We can start free reigning some like epic.
But and a big character that's part of Secret Wars is Spider-Man. A huge character. He gets the black suit, the symbiote suit.
Yes.
So, but like at the end of No Way Home, Tom Hardy was there, remember, as Venom, and he was like drunk at a fucking cantina or whatever, and then he flashed back to his universe, but he left a symbiote. So I think that they're going to continue on with the Sony deal.
Okay.
Right? They left it for the fans to decide.
Do you feel like ultimately this is kind of not a good thing and at the same time? Because why we fell in love with half of these characters and storylines is because the people who created them, they were going to town on their visions on each of these storylines. But now it's all under Disney. They, like the whole thing can change, and now we're not getting the same characters that we grew up actually like loving. You know what I mean?
I think that you hope that they stay true to the source material. I think that you hope that, right?
I hope that,
especially as any
otherwise,
kind of writers,
wouldn't be the same. They wouldn't be the same characters. It'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a guy looking like Spider-Man, but that's not the Spider-Man that I know.
And one thing though, I think that Disney does really well is that they do listen to the fans, right? And if something is off,
the left-wing fans
right now, yes, but they do listen to them for the most part. Like the big tribute to Chadwick Boseman in Wakanda was good. It's very good. Even coming with in Multiverse of Madness, even coming with John Krasinski as Reed Richards, that's a fan cast. They listen.
Yeah. Punisher, we forgot him. Who's he with right now? He's a dark character.
Marvel.
Yes.
Or Disney. He's with Disney.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, the Netflix show Punisher was so hardcore, and like I love that one. There was blood fighting.
So Netflix collabed with Marvel Studios to do that.
Okay, perfect. See, I like that. They at least you want to have some range, right? Like why Punisher was so sick was because of the just how dark that storyline was, man. You know,
so they recasted him. They rehired him.
Nice, John Bernthal.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, he's doing it again, and they're going to do another
season,
Disney Plus show.
Yeah. So another season of Punisher now under Disney Plus.
I think it's going to be a reboot, but it'll be with him.
Oh God, again a reboot? To just pick up that there's so much to go off of what happened with him last time.
I think just with multiverse changes and shit, they can kind of get away with it. Like they recast Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
Okay, but so we're just
Daredevil showed up in She-Hulk.
Okay.
That guy from the show.
But we're just supposed to forget about all that went down in the Netflix world.
Yeah.
There was so much that anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's
forget about it.
I don't like that. Well, as a fan, I don't like that. But I mean, or maybe it'd be awesome again. But I just don't feel like you need to reboot it again. It's too soon. It's kind of like, with Spider-Man. Now that you gave me all the background, I kind of understand now what happened with like why they kept rebooting it, It's because because it's like, oh, this guy owns it now. This guy owns it now. We can't pick up off that last storyline. We have to like redo it again. And so as a fan, you're sitting there like why the fuck's? But then it was so nice when they had that. All three of those Spider-Mans come through. That was so good. I actually had got
it was great. Yeah. It was great, and it was great seeing Toby. It was great. And kind of keep on this too in the subject. I was talking to my buddy, and he gets really mad over why Warhammer isn't made into movies or TV shows because of the rich lore that's behind it. He's like, this is bullshit. I refuse to go to see, like, how can they reboot Spider-Man 3 times and not even give one thing to Warhammer for a movie? I'm like, has Warhammer made $1 billion every single movie? Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was like that one in year 2000 kicked off a lot of superhero shit, like the movies. It started going like that, and the X-Men kind of like really started cascading all these movies. So then we got Iron Man, and then Iron Man started everything with this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
But
right?
Again, but we're picking up off of these characters because of people had so much love for them since like 1960, 40.
Yep.
Like I think it's about time Warhammer gets in the game. That storyline is so cool.
I think so too.
So crazy. I mean, again, from what you just told me, like I'll tune into that.
I think it'll be epic beyond belief, and maybe that's something that will change and pivot from the superhero world to go to even deeper into the into the nerd culture, and like even go to this. And who knows, they could get there if they get some movie rights, like, and people pick it up. Why not? What is I going to say? But back to like Marvel being bankrupt. Do you know the whole reason?
Why they were that close to being bankrupt in the 90s?
DC was crushing them. DC crushed them.
DC, okay.
Well, they have better comic books.
Oh, dude, man.
Hold
on. I'm just like bugging out for a second because I completely forgot about DC for a second after we dove into this. Like, DC is sick.
DC's
so sick.
The characters are way better. But like,
I don't know if they're way. I just mean.
Oh no, they are.
Okay,
but like
Batman. Holy fuck, right?
Dude,
like
Aqualad, like the sidekick to fucking Aquaman is an amazing character.
Sorry, I'm about to geek out real quick here, but okay. Name your top 5? Every character been around, like just it's a very broad question, but like not your top 5, but who do you think is the most? Who are the top 5? Like the Mount Rushmore of all fictional superhero characters, blah blah. Like it's gotta be top 3 is Batman, Spider-Man, Superman. Mm-hmm. And then I would argue Wolverine.
Yeah, he's up there, especially with the movies and stuff, and popularity in comic books. But yeah, I guess it would have to be.
I think it's those 4.
I think it has to be.
Who else are we thinking? Like, really think about it for a second. Captain America, maybe? No, right? But Wolverine, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
2 Marvel
if
guys,
we consider them,
DC
they've
guys.
had the most movies in their name,
and just most splash in general. I would imagine, like in all forms of Okay, but with this dial it down even more, it's got to be Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man.
But 2 of them are DC.
And I'm just saying in general, like
seriously, like, they're the powerhouses.
Those are like
that's
the powerhouses.
Yeah, that's the heroes everyone looks to, right? And if you want to see some of my favorites, it's Superman, Batman, Green Lantern. Fucking love them. I'm a fan of Flash, not crazy amount.
Which Green Lantern? Hal Jordan or okay? Who's the black guy version?
John Stewart.
John Stewart. Okay, there was another Green Lantern.
Yeah, there's 2 more.
2. Okay, who are they again? It was
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner. Okay.
And he's like this like quarterback jock, and he's the biggest douche.
Yeah.
He's a guy you love to. He's a guy you love to hate. I don't like him at all. And then Kyle Rayner is the last one.
Okay, I don't know the last 2 at all. But I'm well familiar with Hal Jordan and then John Stewart.
Kyle Rayner can have every color ring, and he turns into a White Lantern.
Is he white as well?
Yeah. But him as a Green Lantern was a little interesting because he's an artist. He likes drawing, so his constructs are just like super detailed.
Right.
Like instead of like, you know how like Hal Jordan will put up a glove to catch you?
Yeah.
He put up like construction workers building a thing to catch you. That is so
true. It's like again, yeah, because like the Green Lantern is how good your imagination essentially. So if you get like there's like, okay, so we got the simpleton Green Lantern. He's sitting there like, oh, hammer again.
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah.
The guy's like, okay, we need a rope. Oh, hammer again. So get this guy or get that ring out of his head.
Yeah.
Then you got like the super intricate guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and there's so many Green Lanterns because they're space cops.
Yeah, they're space cops, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. To summarize Green Lantern, they're space cops.
They're space cops
with the super ring power or whatever.
Well, they run the power will, so it's green.
Right.
So that's why they're all green, and it's just they have the strongest will, and it's the most stable of energy sources in the universe. And yellow is the other stable one, but it's the opposite of will. It's fear.
Okay.
So fear would break down your will to do something. So Sinestro starts up the yellow core. And he was like a big Green Lantern, and he ended up converting to yellow and starting a whole evil core. And now
so the yellow's the evil, and the green is the good.
Yeah, and there's a few other ones. There's Red Lanterns. They all are based on anger. Blue is on hope, so they're the good side. Huh. Then there's Indigo, which are like prisoners. It's called compassion. That's their emotion, and they're all prisoners, and they have these staffs. They don't actually have rings, and they just teleport. But they're all like ex-convicts and stuff, and you're supposed to like have compassion for a human existence, and that's they exhibit the most compassion now because of what they've done to people, and that's how it happened. Then there's Orange, which is avarice, which is greed, and there's only one because he's so greedy he kills everyone else. And there's a few other ones. There's Black, which is zombies. White is life.
Okay, it sounds like there's like every color of the lantern or whatever.
Yeah, it's all about it's a rainbow.
Okay. Man, pretty yeah, I don't know, I love this shit, man.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's so cool.
And it also makes me think about just how like these all came from like writers are some of the most intelligent people, because like these storylines they're coming up with, they are basing them again off of their observation of human experiences, or maybe they did a bunch of mushrooms and got some kind of supervision to come up with this stuff. But half of these writers, like they're very philosophical too, like because they see the greater picture of things and how everything, and that's why sometimes I guess it just I just feel like they're really smart. It's like we should rely on their opinions a little bit more, because like when you're trying to theorize about how you think things are and everything, it's like it's limited to someone's imagination, really, But these guys' imagination is so vast; they bring up so many aspects that are just like I doubt they went through all those emotions. I doubt they ever were a super evil guy and blah blah blah, But the fact that they can take probably observing someone like Hitler in history in real life, and then taking that idea and then placing him into like these little characters, right?
Yeah,
like it's again like that. They're like true sociologists almost. You know what I'm saying?
And they really that's why I like DC Comics more than I like Marvel, because I think they really tap into human nature and humankind and what the difference is of like how you would feel and react to things. And
they're more
in touch,
more real, more gritty. I do get that, but Marvel at the same time you can't argue that DC is more real per se, because Marvel sometimes reminds me to keep my mindset Marvel style, because like a lot of your life is just how you look at it. If you want to be more like yes, you're gonna have your initial reaction to a sad or hard time, and then you're going to rely on a DC movie to be like, see, those characters know how I feel. But if you train your mind to be more looking at everything more in a adventuristic, positive way, your reality changes. You start to have things more adventurous and positive.
Yeah,
and like, isn't that a better way to live than to go the DC route? You kind of know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not like all DC's all gritty and sad and like
they're pretty dark though. Almost all
they have to
the movies are.
They have to compete, right? That's the way to compete.
Name one happy dappy DC character. Not really.
Shazam.
No, but even Shazam has a lot of like
self-discovery.
Yes, existential. He has a constant existential.
Well, he's
crisis.
an orphan, and his parents don't want him.
Yeah,
I guess that's
and his storylines are there's still like an ominous kind of.
But every superhero has to have like a traumatic backstory in some way, right? Like
true.
That's the only way to actually see them as compelling.
And also, if they don't have a traumatic backstory, then they don't have the ability. Like they don't. Okay, what am I trying to say here? I'm not saying you need trauma to be able to have that inner strength to overcome a super issue, like a super problem. But the guy who has the most trauma definitely should be able to take the most stress. And like Captain America, for instance, like what a traumatic life he lived as a confined little human with all these health issues but believed in patriotism to like, that's why he is the man to become Captain America, right? Like if you have a regular suburban guy no real issues, no adversity. You're telling me all of a sudden he's going to have the inner ability to take on someone like Thanos or whatever.
Right.
You're
He
right.
wouldn't
Like,
have the will to do it. Yeah.
Or he would freak out, or like, because I listened to this on Joe Rogan recently, and he had a quote. I don't know if he made it up again, but he said, the hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. So if you're a little kid and the hardest thing that's ever happened to you, the example he used was your toy broke. Like at that time, that's going to feel like, oh, like that's going to be equivalent to like your mom got killed in front of your face. You know what I mean? Until something crazy like your mom gets killed in front of your face, and that
the toy breaking means nothing. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's no different than like a baby. A baby's like freaking out. Like Cara, for instance, like is like your baby's just like crying because she's fussy. You know, didn't get enough sleep. But then as you get older and then you go through life and you have all these responsibilities and you don't get to sleep anyway, you're no longer thinking about sleep anymore. Like now you have your threshold has gone up to take more challenges, if you will. So yeah, like you're right. Like all these superheroes have to always have some kind of crazy traumatic backstory that has to more or less have occurred in childhood or mid-teenagehood. You know, because because I don't know, but again, it's kind of an accurate depiction of what's going on in our world right now. Because most of us don't have we don't have enough hard trauma.
No, the hardest trauma is that your eggs are overcooked.
Yeah, exactly. So now that's why we're kind of failing, so to speak.
That's what that quote comes from. Like strong men bring a strong society.
Yeah.
And then
like strong men create good times create weak men create hard times create strong men. It's just or whatever, if you don't want to use the word men, humans, people, whatever. Like, but that cycle, we're definitely like you and I are. We have to. People have to give themselves a reality check. Like we're complete pussies compared to our ancestors who dealt like, you know, that's why I feel silly half the time with just how much I worry about certain issues and things because I'm like, dude, our ancestors is like, oh, I'm worried I might not have money coming in. It's like, they didn't even have food, shelter, clothing. And they, you know, like they were around because they figured out somehow to get through that moment and thrive, you know? So it's like, you will figure it out too. In fact, all our situations have endless routes to get done. It's just annoying, but it's annoying to us because of, again, we didn't develop enough mental fortitude yet to realize this is the new standard of stress. Like we're going to look back on us, all the hurdles we've been going through starting the business and everything, and be like, that was nothing. Like as we progress through this thing, you know,
shake it off. Yeah.
And now you have to, it doesn't when it registers.
Like,
you already know, like there's 20 more things that have to get done. You're just, you know, like you're calm all the time, right? It's like, because you're like every one of these will get either solved or not solved. And then I think, you know, like, so that's a sign of maturity, wisdom and whatnot. Sorry, I just kind of like spun my own mind on that, on that tangent there. But but the superhero thing is I don't just watch it blanket just for storyline movies.
I like seeing my characters inspired. Come to life. Like it's just cool for me to see. You know, and to go back to the DC and Marvel, I think the difference between the two are in DC, they're gods trying to be humans, and in Marvel, they're humans trying to be gods. The only way
would a god ever try to be human?
Like, look at Superman's just trying to fit in. He's a god, right? He's just one of the strongest things ever in that universe, and he's just trying to be human. His real name is Superman Kal-El. His disguise is Clark Kent, right? You know how like they all have secret identities. Like Bruce Wayne isn't disguised as Batman. His disguise is Bruce Wayne.
That's right. I remember that in one of those Batman episodes where it's a classic one where I think he was battling the Riddler, but sorry, I got a cough again. Excuse me, sorry. But I forget, just the storyline wrapped up with someone questioned Batman about, how did you know that wasn't the real problem you were trying to solve, blah, blah, blah. And then he confessed, he's like, because he's Batman, he's like, because in my mind, I don't call myself Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
and like I'm actually Batman, and then I'm disguised.
His disguise is Bruce Wayne, and that's pretty much almost every character. Like even Hal Jordan is, you know, the Green Lantern. He's the Green Lantern. He's trying to fit into society as Hal. Like it's like all these gods are trying to be men.
But again, why would you be trying to fit into?
Because
our society kind of sucks when you really think about.
But because they're trying. This is a society they try to protect, and they want to fit in. They want to have a normal life. you're never going to be able to understand it because you don't have that power.
You're right.
Right. And that's where that's why Superman's I think he's my favorite character, because he has all the power in the world and he just wants to be a human, and he actually has restraint, and he shows it doesn't corrupt him. Nowadays they're kind of writing him to be more the villain, but before it's it doesn't corrupt him. He is the pinnacle of what every person should be, like a good person, an honest person in the world, not a wimp, but yeah, sure, he has all this power. He could take over the fucking world if he wanted to, man.
But
he could.
That's what I'm saying is, hold on again.
No one could stop him.
I want to sort out my thought on this issue here. I'm saying that if you were truly as powerful as Superman, to come back into human society and try to fit in here and protect culture the way it is now, I feel like you're trying to protect some cavemen, because we're so flawed. Like, why are you trying to help out our society?
Because they deserve to live too, just as much as anybody else, regardless if they're flawed or not.
This sounds a bit dark, but I feel like if I was Superman, it'd be like time to reshape this entire thing.
That's why you couldn't be Superman.
Okay, you're right. I'd be a dictator.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's why you're not
Kal-El. Because I'm evil. Because my vision's better than yours. I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of lost. Like it's like even Superman. When you think about this, the amount of abuse Clark Kent takes working for not Jonah Jameson,
Perry White.
It's like it's just everything's just like it's that, like that job just even seems silly. Like you're a god, but you want to. It's like. You're used to driving a Lamborghini, but now you want to go ride a tricycle.
Yeah, he just wants to be a normal guy.
Okay, well then
he's humble as shit.
But then he's just kind of a lonely guy. He's just lonely.
He just loves Lois, and that's it.
Okay, fine. Then just get Lois, and then conquer the world again. Because I feel like
conquering the world is not what he wants to do. He just wants to protect it.
I feel like
he wants people to live their lives in freedom.
Yes, yeah, which is very
and not to interfere with their lives. He wants to live his normal life, but hey, when a threat comes around and it destroys his world, you bet believe he's gonna fight it. But that's it. And that's all he is. And then in if we flip to the side of Marvel, like how they're all men try to become gods. Like look at Iron Man. Like he wanted to put a suit of armor around the world. He's just this man, but he's trying to be a god, and he's elevating himself. Same with Captain America. He had to insert the serum to become a god to protect people. Like it's just that they're the flip opposite of each other.
Yeah, you're right. And to parlay off of what you were talking about there into the Star Trek storyline, for instance, because in Star Trek they have the Federation has this thing called the Prime Directive, which is that you don't interfere with another planet's progression until they have naturally achieved warp speed on their own. Then you can, because it's I don't know, but then again you're thinking, but that thinking again, it's I understand the Prime Directive because I can see that seems like the proper move, but what I'm trying to say is that if aliens right now are observing how primitive we are, they may as well just, aside of me starting to think, just take us over and catch us up to speed. Why are you letting us?
Because it's not their place. Life is about evolution and the natural order of things. It's not their place to come in here and just change it to what they want it to be.
Okay,
then that's their choice.
Okay.
We're letting nature decide.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's go to real life then for a second. Do you think that, okay, this is very controversial what I'm about to say, right? But do you think the explorers that came to America should not have just taken it over, from the natives?
Well, okay. All right, yeah, no, yeah,
because look at how the natives of North America compared to the Europeans that came over, they were very behind in technology and this and that. It's so, but I mean, it was cruel the way they genocided that entire group of people. But at the same time, what were they supposed to do? Be like, oh, you guys have all these resources, but you guys still just do things so old school. So it's I feel like they those explorers, they might have had to make that choice of, this sounds real rough, but dehumanizing a human, because it's because they just, what are they supposed to, it's again, you have all this, you're just this far along in the game.
Yeah,
per
I
se,
know.
and
Yeah,
then
I mean, like,
and then
there's some of that. Like, because I mean, they had guns and there was bows and arrows against it. Like, the technology was just a higher play, and then strength overtook everything. Because, like, isn't that the nature? That is the nature of all things. Like, strength always, like, it's always about like Darwinism's. Like, the strength is the thing that evolves. Like, that's how the genes go through.
Like, you don't want to be cruel and genocide a group, but at the same time, it's almost like if they're not on the level yet of like the new pinnacle, they're kind of in the way.
Well, or they just fall off. They fall off on the growth, right?
But
like
they fall off as in what? We wait them out until they fall off. No, like you have to. Like, this sounds very very sketchy what I'm about to say, but I'm kind of understanding more or less the conquering mentality, you know, because like don't get me wrong, I would like to think I'm still a good person, and I don't want to hurt people, man. I don't want to hurt people.
It's more united, I guess, and less divided.
But again, if I was aliens and Earth is somewhat primitive, I don't think the prime directive anymore. I believe just take them over, get them up to speed, you know, and you know, like just, and because otherwise you're kind of it's just like letting toddlers just never grow at such a slow rate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we could be getting so much more like further into like look at the Warhammer world, like, you know, like gets to the point where it's intergalactic travel and this and that, blah blah blah. Like
Earth's on the forefront of the galaxy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like why are we still like waving sticks around like back in the day? And you know, but again, that's such an open-ended thing I said because there's so many angles to it, and at the end of the day, your feelings do come into play because like maybe you don't have it in you to like I talk a big game about conquering, but if it is time to conquer, say back in the day I was Hernan Cortez or these people, these Spaniards that it's like I don't think I could just start killing all these native Indians.
Of course not.
It would eat me alive. I would just be like, oh, that was so wrong. It's just like because
right
you're
killing other humans. It's not right.
It's no different than why don't I go around like I eat steak, I eat animals, but for fuck's sakes, I will not eat a cat or dog because my culture. Like when I say my culture, I mean like as a Canadian or whatever. Like those are our pets. They're family members now.
Yeah.
Like we developed that, you know. But like in
the Philippines, though, they eat dog all the time.
Right.
And exactly. That's just different though. That's just a different cultural thing.
Is it the Philippines they still do that? Like, you know,
I think so.
I lost touch with that. I thought that for the most part that whole practice has been globally eradicated now.
Really? Okay, I could be wrong.
I don't know. I do know there's some. I might be talking my ass here. Like heard on a podcast, there is still some sections of China that absolutely still eat dogs like the way we would eat a chicken and steak.
Yeah.
But it's so weird. But again, but then that begs another super life existential question. Again, it's like, what is it about us that drew naturally towards dogs and cats? Is it just because they look cute? Like, and then we decided
that was evolution. That was how they survived.
But these will be pets. Like,
but the dogs like so smaller wolves survived with human care. So that's how the evolution happened. So if they wanted to get fed, those stray wolves and stuff like that, they had to be cute and cuddly and everything else. So as evolution would dictate, the ones with the cuter genes started surviving, and they got to be able to breed.
So
breed more cuter things. It's all evolution.
But again, like it's out of our amusement, right? Think about it. Like how come we as a society did not take up back to like Inglourious Basterds, that movie, that example? Like how come we're all not into like having rats as pets? They're just for some reason not cute to us, right? Like,
and maybe they would be like, because it's human nature to have companionship.
Yes.
Right. So then that was like, look at
no,
it's part of our needs.
Cats aren't really companions, though.
They can be.
They can be. No, some of my cats are great. Like Chan for instance.
Think about Castaway. He fucking made Wilson the volleyball ball, right? Because he needed that social companionship.
Remember Family Guy where he's like cuts the blowjob hole and then he's like, I'm sorry, Wilson.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh god, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That is one of his human needs.
I'm sorry, Wilson. Wilson, I'm sorry.
Oh shit, hey man, we're at like an hour and then.
All right, we can. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, dude, you're. Kass and I are Kaks Bar and Podcast.
We are co-owners.
Yeah, we're co-owners. And by the way, update. Little bit of construction delays. Again, we hope we're opening late January. It could be late February now. Just delays in supply chain, construction.
So it was all predicted, but it's nothing that we can't shake off. But things are a go. We are constructing, and hey, we'll be open when we're open.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're off to the races.
So again, more podcasts coming out of this studio for now. Like, yes, I'm excited, dude. I can't wait till the studio's built in the bar and we can actually do this in the bar and get that going. And yeah, but yeah, I appreciate anyone who's listening. Like, we do put work into these kind of things, and hopefully you guys are enjoying our conversations. And
feel free to like and subscribe. We also have, you can check out my channel for that Warhammer paints. If that's something you're interested in, or message me or whatever, can always help you out or tell you how I do it or whatever. It's definitely a big passion of mine, besides the restaurant industry, which is my other love of my life. And my family, I guess. But,
and those guys,
no, just kidding.
And me, right?
And Shawn,
me, your friend, me,
friends and family.
Okay, bye everyone. Have a great day.